Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's Marvin speaking. Thank you for the great replies on the Lena Bittel video. I do think it's another diversion for confusion there, and I do think that's got something to do with Lucy. So today we're going to talk about Ayub coerced others into his way of thinking, manipulative, narrative, control, and fear in its case. And like I said, I just want to go into a short video. I'm not going to play it all, people, but I'm just going to let Ayub sort of roll off what he's going to say, and then I'll comment on it.
A bit later on, like 10 o'clock, 11, I've had a bit of sleep by then. I don't mind moving the car. So, cut the long story short, my pal was sleeping on the passenger. Like, he's pretty much knocked out from the moment he got in the car, do you know what I'm saying? And so, there was a bit where I was just videoing him and that, just catching a laugh, do you know what I'm saying? And I'm videoing him, just joking about. And then me and Jay get out of the car, and then I get to the front of the car and I'm videoing him still, do you know what I'm saying? And then we're just laughing about how he's just bare slumped in the car, like with his seatbelt on, but his head's just like tilted to the left. Do you know what I'm saying? We just laugh.
One thing I notice is that he's not taking anything really serious into this case. He's like everything was a laugh. We were all friends. There was nothing suspicious going on. Jay was in good spirits, and all I tried to do was protect him. I think he's used to manipulating people and having control over people. And like I said, I think if he has to, I think he would put fear into people as well, quite easily. You can just see that.
Laughing about that. And then I ended up waking him up saying, "Yo, bro, we're back now." And then he's just literally walked in.
Didn't he originally say that Rocky had slept in the car? And now it's funny how the narrative just keeps changing, that he got woken up. And because we always wondered before Ayub came out with this, started on this podcast, that if Rocky was asleep, what time did he get indoors? It just didn't make sense to me. Did he sleep in the car? And why didn't people see Rocky sleeping in the car in knocking the door if the car needed to be moved? It was kind of strange. So quite a few things don't add up from Lucy's stories to Ayub's story.
Cut into the house and went straight to bed, you know what I'm saying? And then Jay followed behind, and then I followed him.
Jay followed behind. So did Jay go upstairs and go to bed? Do you notice? He could have said, I'd, Jay slept here. We went to bed at that time. Everything's very, very vague, and it plays always into Ayub's favor.
I'm saying, and then I walked in and I said to Jay, basically, I was like, first thing he did ask me was, "Bro, you got a charger?" And I went, go into Matey's room. He's got a charger right by the bedside plug, you know what I'm saying? So he's gone in there.
That's odd. Why didn't Ayub get the charger? Why would he send Jay into someone else's room that he don't hardly know and this guy's asleep? It just doesn't make sense.
Grabbed his charger, was sorting it out in the kitchen, whatever. And I was like, "Bro, that's over there. That's you in it. I'll go upstairs. I'll grab you a blanket or something." I think the pillows must have been on the sofa already. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he should know where they are. At the end of the day, he's just making up as he goes along.
That the sofa pillows, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think I got him. No, when yo, bro, that's you. And I remember, I got him a towel. And that's a towel for in the morning when you wake up, when you grab a shower. That's you, my boy. So I made sure he's sweet. He asked me for ciggies. I gave him ciggies. And I went upstairs now. Just like you're about to go to bed, you're just on your Snapchat, just chatting shit, just before you go to bed, like, you know what I'm saying? And then while that's going on, I can hear him obviously downstairs. Like the door was like a metal door, so you can hear it like whether it's gonna creak or make that noise, you know what I'm saying? So I could tell he's going out the door smoking a ciggy and whatnot. And then I don't know at what point I slept, but I do know we come back around 6:30, 6:45. That's what time we went back.
Well, if he was back that late, Jay couldn't have had that much sleep if he technically left after 8 o'clock, say. It just doesn't make sense why he even went back there. I don't think he was there that day. I do believe he was there before, previous to that day, to be honest with you. But like I said, that morning, I do think something happened earlier to Jay the previous night.
Back and then around 8ish, just before 8, I heard the buzzer, and I was asleep for a good 45 minutes up to an hour by that time anyway. So I heard the buzzer, and then I could hear movement. Obviously, Jay's like woken up, but or I don't know even if was was he awake since we, because you got to remember, like there's only like it's only
Yeah, but how would he know if Jay had woken up, or not? It just doesn't make sense if he didn't actually see him. Do you know?
an hour space, you know what I'm saying? So he could have even been awake, you know what I'm saying? Or he could have been going in, that could have been the time where he's sleeping nearly, and then he hears the buzzer, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I heard him moving, like, but he didn't open the door. So I just like giggled to myself, like thinking, oh, he's fucking shitting it down there a bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't he open the door? You know what I'm saying? So we just ran downstairs, and I was like, yo, G, and he went, oh, bro, that's fucking wigged my head out, that buzzer, you know? And then just for those, like, just a little side note, there are people saying there ain't a buzzer in there. How'd you know? I lived it. Do you know what I'm saying? That button on the right where someone's put it on TikTok and think is the light, which is actually the buzzer. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's funny that I'm going to leave it there, people, but because, like I said, it just goes on and on and on, and we don't really learn anything new from what Ayub's saying. And he just basically sees himself as a saint, and he wants to basically wipe his hands off the Jay Slater case, thinking like he left as his own accord. Basically, he killed himself. That's what basically he's saying, by accident. We're going to move on to part two, which is Lucy. Once again, the words I've used for this: coerced, manipulative, narrative, control, and fear. Let's move on to part two. Welcome back to part two. I've just got a snippet of Lucy from the ITV news. And like I said, the reporter just asked, a few questions, but the answers she gave was just too much information, I think, and a lot of people have said that. Let's get straight into this.
Today, first of all, how are you feeling about the way things are? It's 72 hours since you spoke to Jay.
Well, it's actually even been longer than 72 hours now. It was 72 hours at 8:30 this morning, and obviously that's a long time to be going without food, without water. And I just think with the amount of time that's gone by, I feel like a little bit more could have been done on the authorities' part over here. But yeah, it's been awful. Honestly, I've never been so worried in my life. Like, it's just the unknown as well. Like, you literally you don't know what's happened. You don't know where he's gone. Like, his last drop pin wasn't even on a road. Like, there's a reason he's gone off road, I think. Like, why has he not carried on the path? He's not a stupid boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he would have stayed on the road. Like, it was at 8 a.m. as well. So, well, just after 8 a.m. So that's like the perfect time. It's not cold at night.
I just think that it's been scripted what she had to say, to be honest with you. And what was coming out of her mouth at the time was a lot of information. It's like it had been rehearsed. She was told to say it, coerced to say it, or maybe get into trouble, fearful because she's the one that put the message up at the end of the day. I've done something wrong. It's technically my fault. What was she sort of referring to? It seemed like she was a message that was texting her mum, which is quite bizarre, to be honest with you. I do think Lucy knows what happens at the end of the day. I do think that she is involved with a lot of people higher up the chain. And like I said, if she talked, it could mean curtains for her as well.
It's not midday heat, so there's hikers, there's tourists, there's photographers. Like, There's like people
How does she know that? It's more or less as though she's painting a picture as though she's been up there herself and knows what to expect. I believe that she was up there as well. I don't know the actual Pacific time, but I do believe she was at the Airbnb, and I do believe that she was there with Ayub. And I do believe, like I said, that the car journey going up there basically was a little bit of a blag. I really do think that. I think it was just a storyline for Lucy to actually get there. And I think it was Duncan that said, did she leave the Airbnb and go back to her apartment and then basically come back up again to make it look like she just got there? Who knows at the end of the day, because like I said, we do know that there were arguments of one morning of people arguing, and I was wondering whether that was to get the story straight, or some of them didn't want to go along with what Ayub says, or higher up the chain had said, and it led to arguments and probably, in-house fighting. That's a massive possibility.
around, he's not stupid, he would know to stay on the road, and then he'd walk past someone and say, look, sorry, I'm lost. Like, I understand there's like the language barrier with some people, but someone would have been able to speak English. He would have been able to communicate efficiently to let them know that he had no phone, he had no...
Of course. But like I said, he wasn't seen by anyone apart from Ophelia, Rocky, apparently, who I don't think that was there at the time. I do think it was someone else. Brad possibly there, LK possibly there, and some others as well.
or water, and he was stuck up here. Like, why has he gone off the road? Like, there's unanswered questions, and I feel like they're not... I feel like they are doing some things, but I feel like they could try better to find out what...
When you first heard it, I think a lot of people who didn't know about the case would probably go along with what she said. But like I said, the timeline, Mamadi's been on it, Wax has been on it. It never made sense. So we knew there were a lot of red flags in this case. I believe that whoever have taught Lucy to be manipulative, keep to the narrative, control, don't really talk to anyone, don't really get involved in conversation with Hayley Comet. She was very vague in what she was messaging her, that she didn't keep any important messages about Jay. I think she was coerced into it, and I do think she's fearful and protecting somebody else as well. Let me know what you think, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. And I think those 5 words, coerce, manipulative, narrative, control and fear, are a massive part of this case. Thank you very much indeed.